Bruh, there's no exaggeration and no cap when I say that the YN shooters of the rap world are basically morphing into full-blown Al-Qaeda operatives the way they be committing terrorism. It's no secret that gun violence in places like Fort Worth, Texas are an everyday thing, but the extreme lack of empathy for loss of life is at an all-time high. It seems after news of a completely insane shooting taking out a well-known rapper from the Fort Worth area broke headlines across the country.
Searching for 2 suspects tonight after a man and his daughter were shot and killed at a car wash. The father is known as Lil Ronnie in the North Texas music scene.
In a horrible turn of events, Hoodfame associate and self-proclaimed best gambler in Texas, Lil Ronnie, aka Get Money Lil Ronnie, aka Hoodfame Lil Ronnie, made nationwide news when both he and his 5-year-old daughter were gunned down in broad daylight at Slappy's car wash in the Forest Hills area of Fort Worth Southside. The story of a 5-year-old getting murked by 2 surprise homicidal maniac shooters made nationwide news, and within hours the suspect names were provided to the public by the police. I'm talking 48 hours. In identifying these suspects, community members on Facebook were quick to identify them with their street name, and even quicker to show their link to another Fort Worth rapper who was known for having a decades-long beef with Lil Ronnie. It's honestly an unprecedented situation, with many fans quick to blame rapper CJ Casino because of his connection to the shooter. Things also didn't look good for him when he posted directly after that women and children are off limits, yet photos of him posted with the killers on Facebook are going viral. Is it all coincidence, or is there an underlying beef that ties him into the insane shooting that took out his top op and daughter?
Y'all helped build this city like this here. Remember, y'all all got behind Go Yayo, and all he did was fight, and all people died around him. Children died around Go Yayo.
Y'all got in a shootout leaving the show.
That's just one situation. I probably had 50 of those situations before.
And today we gotta get into the beef in Fort Worth, Texas that took out Hoodfame Lil Ronnie right now. But before we do, man, you already know what we gotta do. Like, comment, subscribe, run up this video, man. We try to get to 100K subs. Make sure you hit that notification bell so whenever I post, y'all tune in right away. And tap into that merch link in the description, man. We dropping some fire shit right now, man. So let's get into this with chapter 1. Imagine being one of Texas's biggest underground rappers for the last decade, but your name is making viral nationwide news for the first time, and it's not even for your music, but it's for supposed involvement with the death of one of your biggest ops and their kids. The whole internet is lit up with rumors of your arrest that ended up not being true, and it's not looking good after you're seen in a photo with one of the killers. Well, that may not be the case, and it doesn't prove that he had something to do with it. The coincidence is striking because of a long history that multiple groups within the Fort Worth area have had, resulting in a beef that has lasted almost a decade. In order to understand how this beef could potentially tie into the reason that Hoodfame Lil Ronnie was taken out, we gotta go all the way back to the beginning and explain how politics and messy situations turned everything into the wrong direction as we see today. It all starts on the south side of Fort Worth, Texas, a community within the Dallas metro area, but not in Dallas, that has its own politics, rap scene, and gambling scene. Chucky Smith, aka Hoodfame Lil Ronnie, aka Get Money Lil Ronnie, was born in the Fort Worth area to a family stricken by poverty and had little options to make it out. Throughout his life, he talked about how his mother was strung out and in and out of the streets while his brother was locked up until he was out of high school. This forced him to go out and get money at an early age. At around 9 to 10 years old, he found himself getting money in the streets and migrated to the south side because that's where all his friends were from. From that point on, he went headfirst into the street life and became associated with a gang with close ties to the 4-4 Hardhead Glen Garden Crib. At the same time, he began getting heavily involved in dice games. It didn't matter if he was in school, in the streets, or anywhere else, bro was posted up doing dice games damn near 24/7. As time went on, he would even talk about making majority of his money from gambling so much that he couldn't even touch his paycheck and just would pay for his life with his gambling earnings. As time went on, he got better and better at gambling and turned that shit into damn near an art form, crowning himself the top gambler in Texas. While he was out doing that and working, he linked up with other members from the south side like Hoodfame Go Yayo and saw that they were rapping. He thought, hey, I could probably make it in this rapping shit too, and went head first into that. You know, he used the same hustle that he used in the gambling world and used that to try to build a fan base, and eventually did over the better part of the last decade, and stayed close with his partner Go Yayo as they began getting clout throughout the city and the rest of the country based on all the music shit. At the same time, they had pretty close ties to another group in the south side that was a gang affiliated called Stop Sick, or the Truman Street Bloods. It was from this group that Lil CJ Casino gained a name and also began coming up on the rapping side of things as well. Despite the history of color banging within the South Side and different gang factions not getting along with each other, both of these groups had a pretty solid relationship for a while. There's even old videos where they were all together and were definitely more than cordial. Crazy thing is, these are the type of relationships that hurt the most when things go wrong, and a simple not seeing eye to eye moment could develop into something much worse later down the line. And this all culminated in a studio session gone wrong that resulted in an irreparable friendship that could have turned into a broad day murder, which we'll get into right now in chapter 2, where it all went wrong. Imagine being homies for someone for years and a small misunderstanding turned into something much bigger into a matter of minutes. That's apparently exactly what happened within the Fort Worth scene that turned two groups into sworn ops. As we said in the last chapter, Lil CJ Casino was pretty tight with Go Yayo and Lil Ronnie, but it seemed like an incident several years ago between a close friend of his and Go Yayo apparently turned the relationship sour. The groups were known to travel together throughout Texas and the country, pushing their Fort Worth sound, with the most notable collabs being on Go Yayo, Lil Ronnie, Lil CJ Casino, and Bugatti Casino. It's crazy because they were all really tight. I remember seeing music videos and vlogs with them all like years ago. It really makes me feel like some nostalgic just knowing about the whole scene back in the day. Apparently though, things got fried when a disagreement between Bugatti and Go Yayo turned into something extra at a studio session one day. Apparently Go Yayo felt that Bugatti's brother had done something wrong towards him, and then an argument spilled outside. Apparently later, Go Yayo would pull up to Bugatti Casino's brother's crib. His brother would spit on Go Yayo and pull out the fire, but the situation was fortunately de-escalated, but it left a lasting impression on both groups. Lil CJ Casino would go into detail in the Say Cheese interview, basically describing the night where everything went down.
They had an altercation in Freddy's studio, you know what I'm saying? Yayo ain't want to fight somebody. He ended up pulling up to Boo Brother's house. Boo Brother ended up drawing down on him, spitting on him or whatever. Bro wasn't with that, so they wasn't Boo after that. I'm not knowing.
And actually having no idea about the incident for several months. He basically went into detail saying that he would go on a tour and return home and finally link with Bugatti, and he found out that Bugatti wasn't cool with none of them because of the incident with his brother, and it made him feel some type of way because they were all supposed to be close friends. It's honestly crazy. From that point on, CJ would say he stopped fucking with them altogether. On top of that, Bugatti would actually go and say that he felt that this split came all the way from jealousy of Go Yayo, seeing both CJ and him starting to gain a name in the rapping. I felt like they were exceeding him. Regardless, a lot of these beef situations don't really have a clear beginning, but best believe they have a clear ending when someone dies. So we'll see in this next chapter how things escalated even more right now, to the point where bodies started dropping in chapter 3, which we're gonna get into right now. You know, at the time, you couldn't really tell if this beef was really that bad or just some rap shit by the way they were beefing for so long. It was no secret that both of these groups had beef with a lot of other people, so it could make sense that this wasn't even that serious. However, things started to eventually turn to the internet, and the trolling turned into actual threats. From the incident we detailed in the last vid up until now, a good 6 or 7 years was filled with internet threats and straight dissing. From Bugatti saying that Hoodfame was snitching and hating, to Lil Ronnie going on a long, lean rant live from a corner store saying it was all cap.
Keep talking about Hoodfame from rats, snitching on who? On who? Super bum, broke ass niggas. Try to snatch a nigga chain and still don't get it ass nigga. Snitch on who?
The Hoodfame Go Yayo pulling up to Lil CJ's hood.
Outside on Strong. Come here. Oh, that shit, baby. We outside on Strong. Blow one down out here. And we got it on us right now.
Then Lil CJ pulling up to Go Yayo's hood and spraying a number 6 on the stop sign, tying up a red bandana.
I don't even need a block, man. Where they at? Yeah, we don't got block this shit, man.
You really couldn't tell if this was all for the gram or if this was all real. Where it turns out, unfortunately, this was all real, because several years later, all that dissing apparently caught up and everything went wrong, which we're gonna get into right now, chapter 4, the downfall. I feel like the peak of these dudes was the mid-2010s up until the early 2020s, and everything was going good. But then things started to take a turn for the worse, specifically for Hoodfame, when Go Yayo was unfortunately sentenced to 41 months in prison for a crazy car chase that had bro literally on IG while running from the police, smoking a backwood. Yes, bro, you can't make this up.
Damn, cuz. Which one you ran? Police and niggas cop laws on me or something. Got 5 motherfucking laws following me. Police ass, snitch ass nigga.
On my mama, nigga, I'm gonna be out in the morning.
Bro trying to outrun the cops, but even if you got away, they gonna find you because you on the internet doing literally 2 illegal things and filming it. This vid went super viral and bro literally said he'd be out in the morning, but best believe that wasn't the case. Bro got sentenced to 3.5 years after, and things started to slow down within the Dallas scene as far as the dissing. But best believe the problems were not solved. Obviously, the one thing that kept going was the gambling scene, and throughout this, Lil Ronnie would be seen in many high-stakes gambling rooms that you can find trying to run up some bread any way possible. But fast forward to 2025, and Hoodfame Lil would be looking forward to getting released in the next couple months, while Lil Ronnie was patiently waiting for his return. But unfortunately for him, he wouldn't be there to see it. Fast forward 2025, and one of the most demonic shootings that I've ever seen would go down at Slappy's car wash on Forest Hill Drive that left many struggling for answers. Monday morning seemed like any start of the week for Hoodfame Lil Ronnie, as he picked up his 5-year-old daughter and was looking to run some errands real quick in the Forest Hills area. Unbeknownst to him, this would be his last couple of minutes on earth. At around 10 a.m., he would stop at Slappy's car wash on Forest Hill Drive to quickly wash his car and vacuum it with daughter inside. He would be at the vacuum stall for several minutes, not really looking at his surroundings, but this was one of his major mistakes. All of a sudden, a white Kia that had been tailing him could be seen from a distance, and 2 people would step out armed and would run up and charge him. Shots started going off in broad daylight at this brand new car cleaning area. Ronnie would be seen running on surveillance cam at first around his car in what seemed like an attempt to get shooters from aiming at his daughter. He would try to run the other direction, but he'd see that he was trapped within the complex, and then looks like he returned fire, but one of his shooters flinched like they got hit. But then he would realize that he was trapped and eventually try to fight back in his last second. However, it was all for nothing because he was shot multiple times. He would eventually lose what little energy he had from adrenaline as he tried to run back close to his car, but died while trying to get back to his car. Unfortunately, his daughter was struck multiple times in the initial encounter and she was gunned down as well. Fortunately for the shooters, they were literally identified in less than 48 hours.
Tributes to Chucky Smith and his 5-year-old daughter continue to flood the internet.
They're scared. They're cowards. They're hiding.
Forest Hill police say they believe Fort Worth residents 24-year-old Adonis Robinson and 21-year-old Jacoby Russell are responsible for their deaths.
I'm not sure if they didn't wear a mask or they were tracked by the police from cameras, but the police issued a press conference identifying them literally on Wednesday when the shooting happened on Monday. Adonis Robinson and Jacoby Russell were identified as the shooters in literally no time. People were able to see that Adonis was posted up with photos with him and Lil CJ, and it just makes Lil CJ look even super crazier than we thought. On top of that, that dude Adonis was a whole sex offender. Bro got sex offender charges and was out here committing capital murder. They're still on the run right now, but I'm guessing by the way that the Texas Rangers and the police announced that they're looking for them, they're completely fried, bro. Like, their lives are completely over, and I wouldn't be surprised if Texas is giving them the death penalty. I'm not sure what bro did. Honestly, there was a lot of rumors going on. There were people saying that his homie had robbed some type of like gambling establishment or something like that, and this was revenge. I mean, there's pictures with them with Lil CJ, but that doesn't necessarily mean that he had something to do with it. You know, also Yella Beezy was there too, so like it could have just been that they took pictures with them or were just posted up. You know, the whole Dallas Fort Worth circle seems like everyone kind of knows each other, but at the end of the day, whatever the reason was, we're gonna exactly find out why. And it definitely wasn't good enough to go and try to murk someone, and especially wasn't good enough for murking a 5-year-old, because that was just out of pocket. Honestly, it seems from the video that they didn't even know that anyone was in the car. You weren't even able to tell for real because the car was so tinted and she was just in there and you could barely sit over the seat to see yourself in the window at that type of age. So, you know, not defending them, but they just probably just didn't know. But unfortunately, it doesn't matter if they didn't know or not, because, you know, they're gonna get the electric chair, the needle, the firing squad. However they be murking people nowadays in Texas, you know, they be on some other shit when it comes to their death penalty activity, man. But hey, let me know in the comments what y'all think. How long do you think that before they find them? Do you think that there's any connection between them and Lil CJ Casino, or that was just all coincidence? Man, let me know what y'all think about this terrible shooting, and whether or not you think it's gonna change the Dallas Fort Worth scene forever, man. But hey, let me know what y'all think, man. Real stay station, you already know what's going on. Like, comment, subscribe, game. You already know. Tap into that merch link in the description.